Yeah. Assemble forth, amble about, legion up, sound off, pursue happiness with your life and your liberty, and for God's sakes, exercise your Fourth Amendment right not to be in your person. One of the people here, we got some gang activity on Wolf Lakes Drive and University, across from Canes. I'm only a couple minutes after this started. I saw the guy didn't have any lights on. I don't mind because that'll give me a better view, but I'm gonna move it to the island. That's it. I can be anywhere I want, just so you know. Anywhere I want, man. Anywhere I want. So he wants me to be in a better position for my cameras, which I'm okay with that. But if he thinks he's gonna give me orders, you know. So this is a Williamson County Sheriff. I don't know what he's waiting for. He's just standing there. Maybe he's waiting for backup. Maybe he's waiting for the license to come back, or nevertheless, I saw this guy getting pulled over. He didn't have any lights on, and so I was right behind him. He was only 2 or 3 minutes old. So here comes back up right now. And you know, just so that they can have a huge scene. A lot of times when people don't have their lights on, they check to see if they're drunk. I've heard that's a sign of drunk driving, but I don't know, sometimes people just forget to have their lights on. This looks like it's one of the people, not a person driving a motor vehicle. So while it's a good idea to have your lights on, unless somebody's injured, there's no victim. But if it is a person, then that's different. If they're a person, then they agreed to follow the codes, you know, of commerce, of the government, basically policies. That's what codes are. And but the people didn't agree, so now they're having some sort of gang huddle over here. Can't really see them, but I don't know what exactly they're waiting on. I mean, it's kind of funny that the officer wanted me to come over here, because this is definitely a better vantage point for me, you know, rather than being stuck behind his car. But I don't know who the officer is. I didn't recognize him. I haven't had much contact with the sheriffs. The assistant chief, Roy Fickock, is fairly easy to deal with, I'll say that, but A lot of the deputies are a little authoritative. I'm trying to ear hustle. Oh my God. Can I get your name since you spoke to me, officer? Officer, I need your name. He told me to walk over here, and now he's not responding. So
you're not involved with this. He doesn't.
He spoke to me. He spoke to me before you got here, and I need to know his name. What's your name?
What exactly did he say?
It doesn't matter. I want his name, and now I want your name too. T. Lowthorpe.
You have my name, Sergeant.
Yeah.
Lowthorpe.
What is your name?
He doesn't.
I know for a fact. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Chief Hickok told me that it is your policy to identify yourself upon request. And I've requested
his name.
Yes, his name.
Hey,
oh, now you're gonna get straight. When I called out Chief Hickok.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Hoffman, sir. Remember you and I spoke the other night at the gas station? Very pleasant.
Oh yes, you were very nice, but tonight you want to not identify yourself, and I find that very unacceptable.
Well, when he's in the middle of a traffic stop.
You're not the context of my traffic stop, sir.
But you spoke to me.
Yes, sir. I told you to cross the street. Because
Yes.
You were coming up behind me, and it was an unsafe manner.
Well, you cannot restrict the travel of one of the people engaged in a constitutionally protected activity.
Okay.
I'm free to walk anywhere I want, anytime I want. And now I'm going to walk back over there and get my coffee cup. So see, it all depends on the situation that you're in as to whether or not they're pleasant, you know. Officer Hawthorne, we did have a talk at the gas station, and he was nice, you know, but tonight he wants to be not so pleasant.
Hey, but just so you know,
Yeah,
you have every right to film us. You have every right to ask us questions.
I cannot see you.
Yeah, all I ask is, as a supervisor, all I ask is that you wait until they're done with their traffic stop, so their attention's not diverted away from who they're dealing with.
He was
You
done.
can ask questions, ask names. No, I'm saying I thought you were asking for his name earlier. Whenever.
No.
Stop.
When I got here, I didn't say a word to the guy.
Yeah.
Can you turn your lights off? I cannot see you.
Yeah.
This isn't fair. Okay. Sergeant, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, when I got here, I was coming up behind him, and you know, that was unavoidable, right?
Yeah.
And he asked me to go to the other side of the street, which actually this is a better vantage point for me. I wanted to go here,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, as long as
and
you're
that
on the
was
roadway,
fine
I don't
with
care.
me. But since he gave me an order,
Uh-huh.
I waited until the end, you know, and I asked for his name because he spoke to me,
Oh,
right?
I got
He
you.
engaged
That's
me.
cool. That's cool.
And so I wanted his name.
I'm asking you because as a supervisor, I want to make sure my guys are handling themselves appropriately.
Yeah, well, see, you first told me that he doesn't have to identify himself, right? And then I called
I'm
out.
saying during the stop.
Not during the stop, but once that guy's free to go, you're done.
Yes.
That's point
But what I'm saying
7.
is, I thought you were asking him while he was like.
No,
basically
no,
asking
no,
while
no,
he
no.
was interacting with the
No,
traffic stop.
no, definitely
Yeah, yeah.
not.
Yeah,
once
I don't
interfere.
By all means, you can ask whatever question you know. And again, they don't have to tell you what it's about, this and that, you know. But obviously,
I already know that
If
guy
you
didn't have
ask-
his lights on. I saw the
yeah,
stop
he was driving with his
start.
lights on, yes, he told me. But
Yeah.
sorry, one second. Couple, Kenny. Yeah. Just to clarify, yeah. Once they're done, by all means, you know, you can ask them their name, ask them their badge number,
Yeah.
you know, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I was misunderstood, and I thought you were basically asking him and interacting with him during his traffic stop. That's why I was saying he doesn't have to tell you anything, you know, because while he's in his traffic stop. That's
Of
why
course,
after the
yeah.
fact, I'm like, yeah, dude, you're done now. Give him your name, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sergeant. So you were just really concerned that he was drunk driving?
No. He told me that the main concern was he was driving without headlights.
Right,
Obviously,
but-
for his safety, it's a concern, and make sure he gets stopped to let him know, hey, turn your lights on for somebody hits you or you hit somebody else. Obviously, driving without headlights at night past a certain time is, you know, against the traffic code.
Oh, sure. But I mean, I just noticed that he waited for you to get here, and then as soon as you got here, then it was like he was free to go. But I thought I overheard him ask if he was drinking.
One of our newer policies now, with everything going on in the world, we always, as soon as someone goes on traffic stop, we automatically send an additional backup unit. Like the old days of just guys just going and doing their own thing, running traffic stops, it's kind of done. You know, we always send, and that's per Chief Peacock and. You know,
He's a good guy.
Wow.
I like Chief
Yeah.
Peacock.
Their main concern is officer safety. So now, pretty much, you're guaranteed that if someone goes on traffic, another unit's going to come until they get that return, and that deputy that's on the traffic stop says, hey, I'm good, I don't need an additional unit, whatever. But until that return comes back and we're for sure that that's not, say a wanted person or whatever the case may be, or they're safe, then they'll cancel the unit.
So you don't even
pretty much standard protocol now that we send an additional unit to every traffic stop.
The PD doesn't do that.
Yeah, everyone should. Yeah,
I'm waving this guy past you, but I don't know if he can see me.
Yeah, I got my directionals on. Tell him to go to the right.
Okay. But yeah. So he didn't even approach until you got here? I missed the very beginning. I mean, I saw him get pulled over, but...
He already initiated his traffic stop. He was just waiting for him to get his return from dispatch.
Oh, okay. I see.
I was over at the sheriff's office. I came over here to back him up. But yeah, they start the traffic stop and everything, and then another unit comes, and then once they get that return that they know that person's, everything's safe or whatever, then they can cancel the additional unit at that point. But going forward, we're pretty much sending an additional unit to every traffic stop.
Right.
So it has nothing to do with you or anything.
Oh no, I didn't think it was because of me. I mean, I knew when I got here he was standing there the way he was, that he was waiting for backup. I didn't think he called.
He had already given dispatch the license plate. I mean, the license information. He was waiting for his return from dispatch.
Oh, I see.
And I just came up. So.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we had a moment to talk. Because I'm real pleasant, and like Officer Hawthorne said.
Honestly, I think it's cool what you're doing. To be honest with you, because unfortunately, just like in any career or any field, there's some bad apples that need to be held accountable. And until we all get body cameras, until we all have that evidentiary proof of everything that we do in interaction with the community. That's why we tell our guys, make sure your camera's on and your mic's on every human interaction. I don't care if you're going to a barking dog call. If you're talking to another human being, you need to have your audio and video. And that's again something that's come down from a higher up saying there needs to be straight across the board accountability. Unless you're not interacting with someone, but if you're interacting with anybody, no matter what the call is, no matter what level of any offense, or no matter what the interaction is, if you're interacting with someone in the public, your camera system will be on, your microphone will be on. So that's what I think it's kind of cool what you're doing, but all I ask is, again, as a supervisor, just don't, while they're in it, which obviously you're saying.
No, I don't talk to anybody until it's over. I mean, I'm not trying to interfere with you guys. But again, that interference works both ways, right? And interfering with a public duty, I think is what the code is called, 3815. Section 5 covers me getting interfered with by you guys.
Yeah, and I tell my guys, anytime someone's filming or anytime an outside individual interjects themselves into whatever their official duty is, to be clear and concise, like with their directions. So like say, if I say, hey sir, I need you to step back, I tell the guys, hey, I need you to be more specific, because that they tell you, hey, step back a little bit. Well, you may step back 1 foot, but they may.
Yeah, Officer Pence.
I want you back 8 feet.
Officer Pence said to step back 3 feet, and I went beep, beep, beep.
And I said, I talked to him. I said, hey, next time, I said, whoever it is, I said, if you want them, say for instance in this case, like say you were.
Oh, you heard about that?
Huh?
You heard about that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I said, I always ask my guys how their nights are going, what's going on. But anyway, no, I told him, I said, give someone a direct location. Like say if I tell you, hey, step back over there, don't just say over there a little bit. Say, hey, step back to this sidewalk. So that way there's no confusion on your behalf or their behalf.
I'm gonna
orders or whatever the case may be. Well, if they're not clear and concise with what they're telling you or asking you to do, then how are you going to follow up with that and enforce that? You know what I mean? So,
well, that situation was a little different, and I'll tell you why. Okay, because when it started, it was an accident in the street, and that's his crime scene.
Yeah.
But then what he did was he ordered the one of the drivers to take her car over to a private property, which is Dairy Queen. And he had no lawful authority in order to volunteer Dairy Queen, but nevertheless he did. Okay, and she wanted to have her car towed, but she was 16, and she basically got bullied, right, and told to move her car off the road. Now the officer didn't do any sort of investigation at all, and I haven't followed it up, but you know, he didn't like document, right, and take any pictures of where the cars were or anything. You know, he just told her get it off the road. Well, I know that she didn't want to do that because she had already said it on video before the officer got there, right?
In most cases, being a teenager, they're concerned their parents are going to get mad at them because they didn't do this or do that. Yeah.
But moving on. So I went over to Dairy Queen, and I had already had a relationship somewhat with the girl. You know, I mean, we had already interacted, right? And so she had said that she wanted me to record as an independent observer. Okay, and she has a right to do that, right? As long as I'm not interfering in any way, you know? And so I was over there at Dairy Queen with her, and then which is not the scene, okay? And then he came over to where I was, and she was right next to me, and then told me to move. Now, that's different because, one, I'm already there. Two, this isn't your scene. And, you know, you have no right to order me to move. If you want to move, you can move anywhere you want to move. But you don't have a right to tell me to leave just because I have a camera. You know, and that's what it was, right? And it really escalated because I will say he is not very good at de-escalating, right? And he went right to threatening to arrest me for interfering, you know? And this isn't my first time. I know I'm not interfering, but I also know that you guys have the guns and the cuffs, right? And sometimes, you know, it might get straightened out in court, but
I mean, like, they're making pretty much everybody go through like people interaction, you know, de-escalation classes and things like that, you know, to make sure that everyone's on the same page as far as how to de-escalate, how to, you know, keep their calm and you know, how to neutralize a situation type of thing.
Right.
With words versus, you know, getting heightened up and frustrated and, you know, and changing their demeanor based on, you know, reaction to maybe what you're saying or whatever the case may be. So I think it's a good thing that they're doing that.
Yeah, so I mean, that could have looked, you know, to somebody that got there late that I was interfering, right? But I mean, speech alone is not interfering. But you know, I wasn't like putting a in between him and the one he was trying to talk to or anything, you know. So like, there's no impediment. Right. So interference doesn't really fly. You know what I mean? Just because I happen to be there already.
Well,
you
there's
know,
a lot of misconception of, you know, in our realm as far as, well, you're distracting me, you know, because I'm having to take my focus away from what I'm doing to speak with you. Well, in my opinion, in my experience, I just choose to ignore you.
And that's your choice. See, you don't
right over there, and, and I'll talk to you after the fact, you know, and then just ignore it at that point. You can sit there and talk and say whatever you want all day long, you know, but it's not going to affect how I respond to you or how I handle what I'm dealing with, you know what I mean?
Right, but I wasn't even talking. But I've heard that from some of your deputies already, that I'm causing them a distraction just by being there, when in fact you're distracted. That's your choice. You know what I mean? I'm not even talking to you. I'm just standing there, right, as an independent observer, you know, and I understand that it could be distracting, but nevertheless it's constitutionally protected.
And a lot of times perception, you know, well, I didn't feel safe because I couldn't see what he had in his hands, or he kept putting his hand in his pocket and I kept having to look over him.
Yeah, my hands are cold. I don't have any weapons. I don't mean any harm.
I'm giving you our point of view.
Right.
You know, they don't know you. You know, you're standing up. You know, and you know, maybe you have your hand in your pocket, and they're like, well, I didn't know if you had a weapon, so I kept having to check over there. Whatever, you know. So, I mean, again, it all goes back to training. You know, and honestly, I think that this agency with the new administration over the last 2 years is really working towards a lot more training and educating, you know, so.
Yeah,
I need to get on this other call.
Hey, do what you do. I appreciate your time. It was Officer
Sergeant Lowthorpe.
Lowthorpe?
Low and then Thorpe.
Lowthorpe. Okay. Thank you. Hope to see you again. You have a great night. Press on.
Master by the name of Bates, smoking more than all 50 states combined. Yeah, right, I gotta stay on the grind. I got no money, so my weed's on my mind. I hit the club, but you know I can't dance. 7 and 7 in my cutoff chance. Tie that shirt in my long ass hair. What part of how I look makes you think I care?